Hello, sorry everyone, you caught me off guard. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome wherever you are. This is your Radio Works World show. I'm Julie, your happiness host, and I'm going to get that introduction right sometime. I hope you've all had a great week. It's lovely to speak to you all. I've been thinking a lot this week about the way we speak to ourselves and to other people, and about the language we hear around ourselves and how that affects us and what we take on even. And the reason I've been thinking about this a lot is because one of the exercises I do when I'm healing is to free people of what we call free floating memories, which is not the easiest thing to say. So our subconscious cannot tell the difference between fact and fiction. And this is why you can go and see a horror movie, and even though you know none of it's real and it's all pretend, it can still scare us silly. And this is quite often how things can go into our subconscious and we take them on as fact. And this is how they can start to trigger limiting beliefs in us. And a great example to give you of this is if you fall asleep watching television, which I'm sure we all do at some point, and you might be watching something all happy and lovely and bubbly, like, I don't know, Frozen or the Muppets or something, if you're a 5-year-old at heart like I am. And that's all good because you only hear lovely, positive, happy things. And then you fall asleep, and it may be that an episode of a hospital drama comes on, and your voice might hear a word saying, "Oh no, she's dying, she's not going to make it, we can't bring her back from this." And your subconscious might take that on at some point, and that stays with you. And we quite often hear all kinds of things around us that can trigger things, or that we don't even realize we're saying about ourselves. So I would like you to be really mindful of the things you say to yourself and to other people, because it quite often has an effect on us that goes on and on that we're really not aware of. And yeah, let me give you an example of this. I love making things. I love to paint and draw and crochet and bake cakes and decorate them and all those kinds of things. But I'm actually really not very good at it. So for a long time, I never did these things. And when I thought about this, and it was really when I started getting some therapy and I was getting CBT, and I was asked to keep a diary of what I did all week in 2-hour interludes. And I was asked to write down and really think about what I did, joy that brought me, and how much achievement I got from that. And when I did that, I realized very quickly that, I can sit and crochet something for 2 hours and be really happy and love doing that. And quite often at the end of those 2 hours, I'll look at what I've crocheted and think, yeah, that's not how I expected it to be. But that doesn't cancel out that enjoyment of doing it. I realized this had stemmed from years and years ago when I was very little. And quite often that's just when these things happen, when people say something to you, which is very definitely their opinion, and you take it on as your new truth. And that can really impact what you do and the way you live your life and the choices you make. And I realized that when I was very little, I can remember my mum looking at something I'd done and saying, "Oh, why do you bother wasting your time? You're clearly not very good at that. You're just not creative. Why don't you stop wasting time and go and do something that's important?" And I realized that had such an effect on that. That taught me so many things that didn't serve me and didn't make me happy. And that taught me that if you're not good at something, it's not worthwhile doing. So it doesn't matter how happy it made me and how much joy I got from it. I wasn't achieving anything, so that somehow didn't count. It taught me that I wasn't creative. I stopped doing it. I was told you're not creative, so I just shut down and I stopped. And these things happen to us. And if there's anything you want to do that you're not doing, I'd like you to think about why. When was the first time someone stamped on your dreams and told you they weren't right? How many of you are going to work and sitting in an office all day doing something that you were told that you should do because that's a sensible job and it's a stable job, even though it fills your soul with lead at the end of the day, and you dread going into work, and you live for the weekend where you can do those things that make your soul sing? Like, who decided what you wanted to do isn't right? And how often have you inadvertently said something to someone else that could trigger that? How often have you crushed someone's dreams by dismissing it because you didn't share their vision? And how many amazing missed opportunities are there out there in the world just because of something someone said and the way they said it? And even think about the way you describe yourself and the things you say to yourself. And I used to be guilty of this all the time, and now I think about it. And again, if I give an example, say you'd phone me up and say, "Hi Julie, can you help me with this Excel spreadsheet?" And I'd say, "No, I can't do that, I'm rubbish at Excel." And then you might say, "Hey Julie, can you come over and help me build this flat pack?" I'd go, "No, I'm rubbish, I can't do that either." And then you might say, "Hey Julie, can you come over and help me fix something on my laptop?" And I say, "Oh no, I can't do technology." So the next time something comes up, you might be about to ask me the one thing that I'm really, really, really brilliant at. It might be the thing I lie awake at night going, "Why can't someone just ask me to teach them how to sunbathe? Because I've got that nailed. I'm brilliant at that." But the next time someone wants to ask me something, they might think, "Oh, we'll ask Julie." Oh, you know what? No, because she's rubbish. She can't do anything. She always says that. How often do you put yourself down? How often do you say, "No, I can't"? And where does that even come from? So, the next time someone asks you if you can do something, how about you stop and think? And rather than just say, "No, I can't do that," or "No, I'm rubbish," why don't you think about whether it's something you would like to do, if it's something that brings you joy? And then you might say, "Hey, I'd love to. I might not be great at it, but I'd love to have a go. I'd love to try. I'm really interested to learn new things." Or it might just be something that you don't want to do, that doesn't bring you any joy. And that's fine. Own that. Be true to that. Just say, "Well, I really appreciate you asking me. I'd love to help you with something else, but that thing isn't what I love doing. And I'd rather not do that for you. But please ask me to do something again." And then you don't give up on things so quickly. And, especially, people that with children, if you're parents, if you're teachers, if you work with children, be so mindful of the things you say to them. I can remember clearly when I was very young, because I'm very old, clearly. When I was at school, you were still graded entirely. Your whole being, your whole personality, and your talents and your gifts moving forward in life were all judged on how good you were at math. And maths is not my strong point. So I was put in remedial groups. I was put in groups based on the whole curriculum, purely on the fact that I was really bad at maths, which meant even though I'm really good at reading and writing and talking clearly, I was in remedial groups. So I can remember being at school when I was 12 or 13, and I was in groups with people who had the reading age of a 5-year-old, while I was sitting there reading Shakespeare in the background. The fact that I was bad on maths meant I was just written off for everything. And I had all these dreams and all these things I wanted to do, and I was told time and time again I couldn't do them. And I can remember people saying, "What do you want to do when you grow up?" And I said, "I'm going to travel the world. I'm going to go to Africa, and I want to see elephants." And they were like, "You can't do that." People don't do those things. You're not the adventurous type. You need to stay here and settle down and have children, because that's what you should do. And I don't like that word. I don't like being told what I should do. No one likes to be told what you should do. Decide what you want to do. Decide if it's going to make you happy, regardless of whether you're going to be successful or whether you're good at it. If it makes you happy, do that. Don't let anyone tell you not to. And don't put limits on yourself. Don't tell you what you can't do. It's just, you have the power to do anything you want. There is nothing that you can't achieve if you want it. And if you believe in it enough, if you just don't let other people crush your dreams and tell you what you can't do and what you should do. I had an amazing example of this the other week. I don't know how many of you have seen Daniel Radcliffe's new movie. Oh, he has two. The one I saw is called Swiss Army Man, which is possibly the weirdest, funniest, quirkiest, joyful, and slightly disturbing film I've ever seen. But when I watched that film, it absolutely restored my faith in people and dreams and believing in yourself. And if you haven't seen this film, it's comedy about a corpse that talks and farts and has all kinds of crazy powers, like a Swiss Army knife. And I was watching this baffled. The beginning is kind of mind blowing. I don't want to spoil it for you. You can find it on YouTube and in all the trailers. But I was thinking about this and how someone had such faith in such belief of what they wanted to do. And, imagine if a friend of yours said, "Hey, I've got this great idea for a movie. It's going to be about a corpse and it's going to fart and talk. And it's going to be a comedy and it's going to star Daniel Radcliffe." And you'd be going, okay, then good luck with that. And I wonder how many meetings he went to and how many film directors he went to. And he said, "I've got this great idea for a movie." And then I've looked at him and gone, it's about what now? It's about a corpse that talks and farts and makes fire and music. And yeah, that's going to be popular. Like, I cannot imagine that the first time he said this, everyone went, "Sounds great, we're on board. Here's the money, go make it." But that person never gave up. And that came true because I watched that movie, and you can watch it. You can see Daniel Radcliffe in interviews about it. He says it's the film he's most proud of because it has the most joyful message in it. Just believe, watch what you talk about, and watch what you listen to. We're all victims of something we call the collective consciousness. And I'm sure there's not one of you out there that hasn't heard of a man called Donald Trump right now. Well, maybe 10 years ago, not everyone knew who he was. But we're all caught up in this consciousness of what he's doing and what he's saying, and whether you agree with him or not, and I want to go on record as saying that I don't, there's this constant fear mongering and, if he's made president, the world's going to turn to, and, it may well do. But, it hasn't been decided yet, and everyone's caught up in this fear. And if you watch the news constantly, it's just doom and gloom, and the economy's going down the toilet, and we're being swamped by refugees, and the world's being blown apart, and Americans are running around killing each other. And the more we bring that into our consciousness, the more that affects us, and the more stress we take on, the more anxiety we take on, because it's just bombarding us with negativity all the time. And it's very easy to get caught up in that. And then there's just no balance. And I would urge you, I know my life got a lot easier and a lot more joyful when I just cut all that out. I don't do the negativity. I don't get caught up in the drama. And, if you're a Facebook friend of mine, and if you're not, please, come find me on Facebook. I'm Julie Lachtay, Lachtay. I'm the only one, very easy to find. But if you're already a friend of mine, you will notice this very clearly and very quickly, that I do not do drama and I do not do negativity. So if you're one of those people that starts posting on your wall, "Oh, I'm so sick, I had such a bad day at work, it was going so well, and then I broke my pencil and everything went," I'm not going to buy into that. I will ask you if you'd like some help or some healing to get rid of that nonsense, because it's already done. If you're telling me it happened, move on, let it go. It doesn't need to control the rest of your day unless you choose it to. And if you want to stay in that drama, I will unfriend you because I don't have time for that. But if you want to post, if you want to post the Muppet singing on my wall, and if you want to remind me how many days there are to Christmas, off the top of my head, I think it's about 60, 61, something like that, which means it's about 30 days till I put up my Christmas tree, which, brings me insane amounts of joy. And this is another thing. I can remember someone saying to me, "Why do you put up a Christmas tree when you live on your own?" Like, I'm sorry, who is my Christmas tree for? So do you only put up your Christmas tree for someone else to look at? Because I put up my Christmas tree because it makes me insanely happy, because it's pretty and sparkly and gorgeous and I love it. And I don't care if it's silly. And this is another one of those words. So many of us want to do things that make us happy. And we hear this guilty pleasure all the time. What is there to feel guilty for if something brings you pleasure? If you're not harming someone and you're not harming yourself, surely it's just pleasure. Where does the guilt need to come in? 22-year-old that likes to ride a pink bicycle with streamers out through the park, who's to say you shouldn't? You know, if you're a 48-year-old that likes to watch dodgy Christmas movies starring Dolly Parton and the $6 Million Man, and I'm not making that up, I actually found that movie on YouTube. It may well be the worst movie I've ever seen, but it still brought me so much joy purely for how bad it was and the fact that they went through with it and they made that movie and it's out there. You know, if something makes you happy, just do it. Don't apologize for what brings you pleasure. You know, look at children, see how much pleasure they take without caring. You know, the next time you see a big puddle and you want to stomp in it because it's fun, go stomp in the puddle. Who cares if someone's looking at you? And more often though, if you're that person thinking, oh, I can't do that, and oh, you know, it's the person that is doing that thing is the person you're looking up to, saying, I wish I could be like that. I wish I could be that carefree. And I've had people look at me like that. You know, I spent a lot of time as a nanny. I spent a lot of time with children. It's not been that long since I laid flat at the top of the hill and rolled all the way down. And when I say not long, I'm talking weeks, not months or years. And I stood up at the bottom of that hill with people looking at me going, did she just roll down a hill? You know what? She did roll down a hill. And if you haven't done it for a while, go find a hill and roll down it because you've forgotten how much fun it is. And really, it's fun, it's free, it's not hurting anyone. You might want to check there's no dog mess first. But, you know, even if there is, it's not going to kill you. You've probably got access to soap and water. It's, you know, it's all going to be fine. So all I want to leave you with really is be careful what you say to yourself. Be careful how you say it. Be careful what you say to other people and how you say it. And be mindful of what you're listening to. Because all that stuff that's coming in from the TV and the news and the radio and the people moaning about refugees on the bus or whatever it is, build that little bubble around yourself. Protect your peace. Keep it happy. Keep it positive. Don't do guilt. Don't do drama. Live in the now. Find the positive. The bad stuff, it's not real. Just let it go. Just let it go. And life gets much easier and much more fun. And my loves, I think that's all I have time for today. I think I'm about done. I'm hoping Marina's about to step in and do her magic, or you'll just have to sit here watching me pull silly faces or start reading you a book or something. So Marina, are you there?